So in this part, I'm going to walk you through how to fill out the draft course outcomes and outline section of the course design worksheet. So the summary here is write a draft of 4 to 8 course outcomes. They should be written using verbs from Bloom's taxonomy using the best practices taught in this course for course level outcomes. All course level outcomes should tie to assessments in your weekly outline. Because of this, it can be helpful to go back and forth between your outcomes and outline. We don't strictly follow backward design, so you can iterate between your course outcomes and detailed course blueprint below. So one of the things you should do is look at the style guide for formatting. And if you go to CityVision style guide, you can see that the titles, weekly titles, need to follow this format. Week X, week 1, and then the title, and the title should be covered in this week, and it shouldn't wrap to 2 lines, so typically less than 50 characters. Same thing with lesson outcomes. So it's always called lesson outcomes. Start with, after completing this lesson, you should be able to, and must follow the best practices of writing outcomes in the lesson taught this week. So each outcome should tie to an assessment or forum and accurately summarize the competency the students trying to demonstrate. Should follow Bloom's taxonomy, should not just be an outline. And this is by far the biggest issue. I often see people just using this as an outline of what's covered. Honestly, 75% of the time, that's what people are doing, is they're just showing an outline of what they cover, and we have to rewrite them. When possible, you should always show which forum or assignment that it's tied to. One other point is every assessment in a lesson should be tied somehow to an assignment. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through and draft an 8-week course outline. Now, if you are in a project-based course and above, if we said, this is a project-based course, I recommend that you also outline for each week, what you're going to have, what portion of the final project do. Now, a lot of courses, for the first 2 or 3 weeks may not start on the final project. Some courses might wait until 4 or 5. So you can kind of figure out what weeks you're going to have, which portions of the final project, but you should iterate, back and forth between all 3 of these. So let me just use an example of how I did this with the entrepreneurship course. So, I created this weekly outline here, and you can see how each of these is a summary of what's actually covered. And what's worth noting is there's also a table of contents for the final project. So these correlate back here into the final project. So if you look at these can tie back together. Now, one of the things that I did earlier on, you should have created an outline of your book. And one of the things that I did here is, so this is an outline of the book. So that we went through. So what I did as I was planning this is, and I think this is also an outline of a secondary book, is I started to cut and paste into the various weeks where I thought we could fit this material. Now, in this course, because of the design of the book, I did end up using all the book, and the order they had in the book actually largely made sense in terms of what we wanted to do. So I cut and pasted this, and then that helped me think through the order of the content. So as you're working on this, you could start to go down into the read section, and then you can go down into the read section. You can start to cut and paste some of the content. One of the things that you should keep in mind, again, the style guide, if you start to do that, you need to follow the style guide on how we have the read watch. So for the reading, we always have the book title and then chapter 1, so it's consistent with our students. So one of the key points in all of this is you go back and forth as you're going through this. So you might have an outline and then you try to cut and paste the book material, and you realize you need to move some material around, or move your course outline around, or change around your final project. And same thing with in terms of your course outcomes. So what I recommend you do is you kind of go back and forth for all of these. And the idea behind, why do we do this, is we want you to understand the big picture before you get into the weekly lessons. Now, in the future, you're going to go through and you're going to do, a single iteration where you're going to, try to get 1 week of an outline, and then 1 week of a specific course, but we're not doing that this week. So thanks a lot.